All right, Pete, since we last spoke, Everton have a new manager in charge in David Moyes, and they've showed interest in Devin Rensch from Ajax as a new right back option in January. Is that actually a deal that they could afford with the new takeover?
It's a deal that looks like the Friedkin group are going to sign Devin Rensch in this window, but it's not for Everton. It's going to be for Roma, by all accounts. It seems that Roma are leading the chase for the Ajax fullback, probably much to the displeasure of Everton, who have also been linked to them. But reports in Italy are suggesting that Roma are quite advanced in their negotiations for the 21-year-old. They're hoping to bring him in this January transfer window. Ajax are open to selling him because he is coming into the final 6 months of his contract, so they would rather cash in now rather than allow him to leave on a free transfer. So it does look like the Freakin group are ready to put their hands in their pockets and try and sign him for Roma. Although Everton, as we spoke previously on the pod, are in that market for a new right back. They've got Ashley Young playing there at the minute, and then the backup is Seamus Coleman, who's 36 now, and obviously he was part of that coaching staff straight after Sean Dyche left the club as well, and I'd imagine that would probably be his next role at Everton, will be to join the coaching staff. So yeah, right back is an area of the team that Everton, I think, desperately need to plan for, and Rensch would have been a decent signing for them if they were able to lure him away from Ajax, but it does seem that Everton's sister club, Roma, are going to win the race for him. So it's maybe back to the drawing board for Everton in this search for a right back.
Go on then, how does that work, Pete? Tell us. If there's two clubs with the same ownership that want the same player, how do they sort out hierarchies to who gets what? Is it just done in-house?
Yeah, it'll all be done in house of who really needs him, and also probably it'll come into the players thinking, does he fancy a move to Roma over Everton? That could be part of it as well, and obviously the chance to play in Serie A, I'm sure would be very interesting for Rensch rather than maybe joining Everton now, who are going to find themselves in a relegation battle, no doubts about that, in the second half of the season as well. So I'm sure that will play a part as well. But look, obviously, Freaking Group will obviously try and find players for both clubs in this transfer window. I don't think there'll be a lot of money available for Everton to spend as much as they need reinforcements. I think David Moyes will maybe have to wheel and deal, and it might have to be sell a few players before he can bring a few in.
And Paul, Everton are obviously looking at other right back options as this one looks like it's going to fizzle out. Kyle Walker-Peters has been linked with the move to Everton. Would that be a good fit for him? Someone who can actually play at both fullback positions where Everton really do need help.
Yeah, listen, he's a good player, isn't he? I mean, he's a top player. What did they pay for him? 10 million from Tottenham after the initial loan. I mean, he's a good player. And he's done well in the Premier League. One of the few Southampton players that has done well in the Premier League. I think I'm right in saying that his contract is up this summer, so there's an opportunity there for somebody to maybe go and get him for a fee. Because if obviously, I mean, you can't say for definite, but it looks like Southampton are gone, aren't they? So if they go down and he leaves on a free, that's not exactly ideal for them. So they might be in a situation in Southampton where they have to cash in on the 27-year-old. Predominantly plays right back, but as you say, can play left back. And I think he's a player that's got better. He's one of those younger players that Tottenham kind of held on to, loaned out, thinking that potentially he would come good and reach the level that he's reached now. And I think he'll be worth, what would he be worth now, Pete? He'll have to pay, what, 3 or 4 million for the last 6 months of his contract, maybe? But he's definitely a player Everton could get out of there, yeah.
Yeah, I think you probably have to pay a bit more than that even for him. I know obviously Southampton probably resigned to him leaving in the summer on a free transfer, so if they did get a cheeky offer in the final few days of the window, they might have to take it. But I think Walker Peters, you probably get maybe 5 million plus for him right now. He's such a versatile player, as you mentioned, Paul. Can play right back predominantly, can also play left back, and he's been on the fringes of the England squad not too long ago as well. So I think for me, I think Cal Walker Peters will have plenty of options probably in the final week of the window, but also in the summer as a free agent. I think he'll have options in the Premier League and even abroad as well, because he'll be a decent free agent if he does end up running down his contract at Southampton, which is looking more and more likely. And I think obviously he will leave Southampton if they do get relegated, which, as you mentioned, looks almost a certainty right now as well. So I think there'll be a lot of demand for Walker Peters in the final week of the window, and also if he doesn't move, then he'll definitely have his pick of his options come the summer.
And Pete, do a lot of Everton's potential deals rely on the idea of Betto leaving this window to kind of free up some space both on the wages and potentially get a transfer fee for him?
Yeah, it would obviously help Everton's transfer kitty if they were to offload some players that maybe are not in the plans of David Moyes. Betto, he only got 7 minutes off the bench in Moyes' first game in that defeat to Aston Villa. Obviously, he has struggled for form.
That's pretty
Yeah,
standard. That's what's happened to him all season.
Exactly, and I think obviously the player himself is frustrated, so there's been a lot of talk of him moving back to Italy, where he did enjoy success with Udinese. Torino have shown an interest in him. I think ideally the Italian side would like to sign him on loan rather than pay up front for him and pay a fee, because Everton they did spend quite a bit of money on him, on the Portuguese when they signed him from Udinese a couple of years ago. So they'll probably be looking around between 15 to 20 million to sell Betto on a permanent basis. Torino don't really want to do that, so it's a bit of a difficult one for Everton. Do they let the player go out on loan with an obligation, maybe just to be guaranteed money for Beto come next summer, and then they can reinvest it? But then if they let Beto go this January transfer window, they're going to have to bring in a replacement. And although he will save on the wages, if they're not getting a transfer fee for him, they won't have a lot of money to reinvest and bring in a replacement. And I'm sure David Moyes right now will only let Beto go if he is guaranteed bringing in a replacement, because he doesn't want to leave himself short. And obviously we know that Everton's problems up front. They've really struggled for goals again this season as well. So taking another striker out of the equation would could seriously harm their chances of avoiding relegation.
And Paul, Everton are interested in potentially bringing in Ernest Roma from Lyon as a potential winger attacking option should Beto leave. Do you think he'll be an Everton player by the end of the window?
Not on a permanent, no. I think what did they pay? They paid circa 20 million for him. I don't think he's played a lot of football this year, looking at his stats. Young lad, 21, Ghanaian international. Contract till 2028, so the amount of money that I suspect that Everton would have to outlay now might put him in FFP and PSR restraints. If that deal's to be done, it's a loan with an obligation. I can't see Lyon want it, because of their financial situation as well. To get him off the wages would probably be a big help for them. But actually, from Everton's point of view, they won't want to go the other way with having to pay a transfer fee now. If that deal is to be done and Lyon want him off the books, there's a definite loan with an obligation opportunity. Can't see that one being a permanent.